the 7th of September 2024. You're most welcome to the NILEcast, only on West Nile Television, where we give you the daily news bulletins of the day. Every day from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. My name's Ukumaringa Christine. Before we dive into any of the stories this evening, let's have a look at what's happening in the headlines tonight. In the headlines tonight, leaders warn citizens against border conflicts between South Sudan and Uganda. Stakeholders urge to continue fights against child sexual abuse. And NEBI security team warn money lenders using national IDs as collateral. This and more in the NILEcast News Bulletin. A very good evening again, viewers, and you're most welcome to the NILEcast only on West Nile Television. Let's dive straight into the stories that have made headlines tonight. The general public living along the border of Moyo and Kojo-Keji have been urged to coexist and stop dragging the two nations into conflict. This urge was made by the Commissioner of Kojo-Keji County during a cross-border dialogue on the boundary of Wanyo Abaya in Afoji border post. Okumu Dominic reports.
The dialogue, which first started with the leaders visiting the contested area before holding the dialogue meeting at Afoji Customs in Moyo district in the afternoon, was aimed at resolving the matter before getting out of hand. Mr. Lisi David Christopher, the Commissioner Kojo-Keji County, Central Equatoria State of South Sudan, who led the Kojo-Keji delegation, urged the citizens living along the border to coexist and stop dragging the two nations into conflicts over minor issues, but rather allow the two nations to hold hands in promoting developmental ideas and compacting crime along the borders, because the two countries cannot afford to engage their armed forces over minor disagreements on land which is very semaphore.
Our citizens should not bring conflicts among ourselves. And then we move forward to other developmental programs. Like what you are saying about the road construction, combating criminal along the common border. No matter you are a Sudanese or a Ugandan, provided that you give us food. So I'm very happy with the resolutions of today. You need to tighten your relationship with that LC. From today onwards, we do not want to listen to stories. The UPDF said they have come there simply because they were worried of the incident of 2014.
Mr. Gore Goffin, the resident district commissioner Moyo, who led the Moyo delegation, said the people who are living in areas where the borderlines were demarcated by people they don't know should not take to arms, but rather sit down and solve the issues together as brothers, saying the people in these areas will continue to live together for the rest of their lives.
We who are living where our borders were determined by people we don't know. The way we can manage to coexist is when we have issues, we meet like this. So that we find solutions together, and we find solutions to the challenges that have emerged, and we keep living together because we are going to live together for life.
Honorable Andu Richard Opeli, the Vice Chairman Local Council 5 Moyo District, said if the people are to refer to history, all the people within Moyo originate from Sudan, adding that all these confusions about the border is being caused by the foreigners, saying the people living along the borders are all related.
That what we have common here is development. That's why this and the Commissioner, if we talk about history, we're all origins of South Sudan. We all come from the Sudan. We people from here. The confusion said by the foreigners, as you said, they've let us in confusion and have gone. We should continue to coexist. We have not only development, but we also very many things in common that we share. Relationship
His Royal Highness Alson Chukiriwani, the head of chiefs in Payam Chiefdom, urged the leaders to sit down and resolve the matter on the land, saying, as chiefs in the area, they know the boundary of the two communities, but appeals for calm and peaceful coexistence among the two communities, and they should continue farming together up to the time the two governments will resolve the border issue once and for all.
The decision already come that as the place already been seen, let the leaders go down and discuss and come with the resolution.
Correct. Lakin, ibo somata ke bunan go somata logon komata logon bungnilo mini dingin nagon tamajikang tijur tiberon ajo to den paket nagon jajamahon.
He is a chief of this area, yes. and his lower level chief, they know about the location.
Yes.
That's why they are here.
Yes. So nan lotin adi tingutu logon gomni logboke pode kokule ngutu logon kulo ko kulula onda Uganda to kologbe tarling bagan na jonda na nini.
So he wanted everybody who's here and even those who cross from Uganda, they have to remain here in peace.
Correct.
Duku John, a member living in the contested area, said for the two communities to coexist and live together as brothers, they should agree that the soldiers camping in the disputed area should be withdrawn and the bad politics in the area should be abolished, and the two countries should respect the territories of their neighbor so as to avoid clashes along the border. The disagreement on the piece of land, which measures close to 5 hectares located between Wano in Moyo district and Abaya in Kajokeji, started on 7th August this year when a family from Moyo district living in the area decided to clear the piece of land for cultivation, but before they could finish, they were attacked and chased away by a group of people from Kajokeji on allegation that the land in question belongs to them. In the dialogue meeting, the two parties came up with some resolutions, among which includes the need to withdraw the army from the contested land to allow the people cultivate freely as they await the final border demarcation, allowing the person who cleared the land to go ahead to cultivate, and those without land should request land for cultivation from the landowners before cultivating, among others. This is not the first time the two communities living along the border, especially the Madi and the Kuku, are clashing over pieces of land for farming. In 2014, the Kuku community along the border attacked and injured more than 3 farmers from Moyo district who had gone to farm in the area, and in retaliation, the Madi people decided to launch an attack on the Kuku community living in Moyo district, something which resulted into bloodshed among the two communities. It's from this that the two parties organized the meeting to avoid the repeat of what happened in 2014. Dominic Anthony Okumu, West Nile TV, Nilecast.
And more in our story, stakeholders have been urged to continue fights against child abuse, which has become a pullback factor and is affecting development of children. According to the stakeholders, this can be achieved through educating the young ones about some risky behaviors. Benson Pastore reports.
As one of the ways of fighting and kicking out child sexual abuse among the communities, Lilian Butelehele, a Ugandan-American author, child abuse advocate, and a survivor of child sexual abuse, has written a book called Bad Touch that basically teaches about bad touches, what it is, how to avoid it, and what to do if it happens.
There's a gap in the Ugandan school system. They don't teach children, if they do, they mention it briefly, but they don't teach children about child sexual abuse. And personally, I have come to the conclusion that child sexual abuse is an epidemic bigger than Corona ever was, bigger than even AIDS ever was, because it happens in homes and happens between family members. It is shrouded in secrecy. So I have written this book to teach children. I have written a book that you can now teach your children that to be touched inappropriately is wrong. So it teaches them how to recognize that touching, when it happens, what to do, in short. And we have illustrated it with pictures. The pictures are palatable, there's nothing obscene. At the back, it says Tamo and her brother Tito learn about bad touching, what it is, how to avoid it, and what to do if it happens. And we describe different forms of bad touching in the book for children.
Jimmy Adriko, Director Jimad Media urges people to close the gap between the parents and children so as to disempower the rate of child sexual abuse in our communities.
these things happen in our communities. The issue about, to raise the issue of parents, the only thing we can do, the immediate solution, the immediate arrangement we can have is, let's just put it, teach people who are being molested, the targeted people.
Yes.
So if you empower those ones, eventually you disempower the aggressors.
Yeah.
So it's important we become friendly to our children. We create that situation between information. We close that information gap between parents and the children.
The Bokuba Tates shall therefore be launched officially in West Nile region on 20th of September 2024 at the Suba Hotel in Nairobi City. Then the launch shall proceed to the other regions of Uganda. Oraku Benson Pastore.
Teach people who are being molested, the targeted people.
Yes.
So if you empower those ones, eventually you disempower the aggressors.
Yeah.
So it's important.
24 at the Suba Hotel in Nairobi City. Then the launch shall proceed to the other regions of Uganda. Oraku Benson Pastore, West Nile Television Nilecast.
And more in our stories this evening, security personnel and other leaders from Nebi district have sounded a strong warning to all money lending institutions in the district to stop retaining national identity cards as collateral security during loan processing. This warning comes after claims of some locals that they miss government programs because their national IDs are confiscated by money lenders. Take a look.
Security team in Nebi district has issued strict guidelines to financial moneylenders using national IDs as bilateral for securing short-term loans. According to the security, this has become a culture of exploitation where vulnerable individuals, especially business fraternity, suffers. Robert Abak, Nebi resident district commissioner, is concerned about the situation and said they must protect the citizens. Abak added that imposing strict rules on moneylenders will curb predatory practices as there are over 40 mushrooming moneylenders in the district.
To get us the number of registered moneylenders, there are over 30, I think even 40. What they do, they, I would say, confiscate your national ID. The interest is exorbitant and that's extortion. In our security committee meeting, we have resolved to take action. And I'm advocating that we should stop going to these money lenders. Their interest you don't understand.
Juliet Ojera, a businesswoman in the municipality, says one of her neighbor missed PDM since her national ID was confiscated by one of the money lenders.
Actually, normally whenever we want to get loans, they first of all tell us to take our IDs so that it is detained there. And thereafter, it becomes a problem to us. Whenever there's a government, whatever, which comes like PDM, and you want the ID back, they don't actually.
Meanwhile, Superintendent of Police Philbert Wahibi, DPC Nebi, noted that this will stifle businesses and hurt the economy. Wahibi further revealed that the moneylenders detain national IDs, which hamper the progress of PDM, Emyoga, among other government programs.
Those people really who are engaged in working, especially getting people's national IDs, that one is wrong. We were guided by the head of state. They should not use that as a guarantee because a national ID was made for a different purpose, really for purposes of identification, and people should be able to move freely and use it.
This is a new era of fairness and transparency to safeguard vulnerable people. Alfred Jawok, West Nile TV, Nilecast.
And more in our stories, farmers from Lobele Sub-County, Koboko District have been empowered to engage in agriculture and tree planting initiatives so as to mitigate the negative effects of climate change towards agriculture. Although through the initiative, local women farmer groups are benefiting towards the water irrigation initiative implemented by Rice West Nile in partnership with AWAR International with support from BMZ. Okumur, take a look. In a bid to mitigate the negative effects of climate change towards agriculture, local women farmer groups are benefiting towards water irrigation initiatives implemented by Rice West Nile in partnership with AWO International with support from BMZ. During a courtesy visit to the water production site located in Baro Village, Lobule Sub-County, Koboko District by the visiting ambassadors to Uganda from the Netherlands and Denmark, district officials and stakeholders, it was revealed that local women farmers are growing food and planting trees to improve on their livelihood and mitigate the negative effects of climate change, even though they face challenges of land ownership. Kani Gloria, the Assistant Production Officer, Lobule Sub-County, stated that local women farmers face challenges of land ownership influenced by culture, which has hindered their engagement in agriculture and climate change mitigation interventions.
As farmers in Lobule Sub-County, I must say land is owned by men, and that is a culture. So with culture, we have to move by the culture. And you see, women are the biggest percentage of the farmers that are actively engaged in the production value chain are women, though they don't own land. Now, how they participate in farming is they are able to access land through their husbands, and also they go an extra mile to hire land from those within the community that have land, and that allows them to engage into farming. Much as they access land through their husbands to farm, they still face challenges in that you find that the man feels he has to take ownership of all the resources at the end of the production season. He feels after selling, this woman has to present everything to him. And that is another challenge that they are facing as women along the production value chain. Due to that, you find that women are not willing to plant trees because even their husbands, there are those that have come to my office and telling me my husband is not allowing me to plant trees because they look at trees as a permanent investment. They say you want to grab their land. Much as sometimes their husbands are not able to speak about that, but their in-laws come in and speak and tell them directly that, no, you cannot plant trees in our land. So that's another challenge that they are facing in building resilience towards climate change. And additionally, also, you find that they have limited resources as women. They don't have the resources to be able to plant trees, to have investments in microscale irrigation. And in the end, it affects the general welfare of the household. Let's say those interventions are not enough, but at least there's a way, there's a starting point where we have that support, and from there we can be able to move ahead through the different government interventions and also the different development partner interventions within the sub-county.
Mambo Ashraf, the LC5 chairman, Koboko District, in a press briefing stated that due to climate change, the district receives rainy seasons once a year, which has greatly affected food security. He further stated that such interventions, in addition to tree planting, can help to mitigate negative effects of climate change by restoring the vegetation and the rainfall pattern.
Uganda generally has changed, and it's worse on our side as of Koboko, maybe I say once say West Nile as a region. We used to have our first seasons as early as March, but this time the climate pattern has changed, and we only have one season this year. So it means the trend at which the rain pattern has changed. It has affected production, and as you see now, we expect more of the challenges next year because the plants that have been planted within this season have also been spoiled. As soon as the rain started, people go massively in plantation of beans, rice, many other crops that have been planted. But I want to assure you that the beans have all done. The only hope remains on the rice, because for them they like rains. So definitely our rain pattern has affected production and agriculture. That's why we need a lot of interventions, and that's why we're saying let rice come in. We need to do restoration of the vegetation. If you see now from here, the land extremely looks bare. So it means we need to plant more trees in order to restore the vegetation and retain back the rain pattern that we used to have. Of course, the negative impact is when there's no production, where there are no rains, then there's a reduction in production. And as a result of reduction in production, it leads to many more issues like this, gender-based violence to come in, where food will not be enough. Issues of theft cases are going to rise. If you go right now, even in police stations, the rate at which people are stealing is high. Why? Their livelihood has been tampered. there's nothing that they can do to their life, it's survival. So the only thing is to steal whatever things are there, they go and steal. And that's impact us negatively because as a result of the drop in production.
Though there are a number of interventions provided by the government of Uganda and the local non-governmental organizations, Koboko district still faces challenges of climate change and food shortage attributed to tree cutting. Okumuringa Christine for West Nile Television, Nilecast. And with that, viewer, that marks the end of the Nilecast.